So, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's 9 o'clock. On behalf of the BOCC, we'd like to welcome everybody. We're going to get started with our 21st of April meeting. And the first thing on the agenda is the minutes. Commissioners, have you had an opportunity to look at the minutes and any corrections or changes?
I've had the opportunity to look them over. Everything looked satisfactory to me, so I would move that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented for Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We'll go straight into our emergency manager report with Jim Spratler.
Morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning. Morning, Administrator and all the rest, Sheriff. And I see everybody on there. So I'll just go over the sheet a little bit. I think you have a copy of this in front of you. Just to give you a quick overview of the last 7 days. We've been working on numerous projects. Some of them, of course, not limited to, but some of them we're still locating and securing needed supplies, working hard on that. We're building a system to identify our special needs population right now. We're adding to our emergency operations center support system. We've added long-term planning recovery piece. Rubicon's in to help us build these questions and answer type things for recovery, what we're going to be doing, so that we're not losing track of where we're headed. We are assisting the businesses in recovery right now. We're working with donations and distribution of those products. We're compiling data, trying to put it in some usable formats for us to understand what's really going on. We're building a collection system for the information that can be used not only now, but in any other disaster. So whatever we're spending time on, it's going to be real good for the future in case we need to utilize these systems. We're still trying to finalize some alternate care sites for the tier 3 and 4, but we are developing quickly, I hope, what we call a non-congregant shelter, and we're getting that organized. Hopefully that'll be done by Friday. We just put together another incident support plan for our multi-agency coordinating group, our EOC. That's going to go for another week unless we have some major changes. And then all the rest, transportation for us is up and running, normal operations. I mean, as far as you can go with, I think Jennifer was saying we have like 10 to 15 a day now, which is up, but a lot of people want to go to, get their meds and go grocery shopping. They've also worked on about 60 meals this round, so they're helping delivering meals, also helping in Dolores. The road system's normal operations, CDOT's normal, pipelines are normal, aviation's normal. The school districts, of course, are keeping very busy delivering meals to students and other people in need. We're up to like 6,700 meals, so very proud of that effort. The communications, our infrastructure and messaging and all the 911 systems, they're all at normal operations. We're working closely trying to get information back to the first responders in case there's any possible threats when they respond, so that's working really well. Our public works and, of course, road and bridge maintenance, everything's fine. Looks like we're all at normal operations right now. Landfill, the same. Firefighting, normal operations. They are responding to a few more illness calls, but they're checking their staff often, and they're doing their own weekly inventory, making sure they have enough stuff. For emergency management itself, we're working really closely with the Public Health Department. We're still putting together our emergency ops center meetings, our virtual meetings, and we're having 3 a week. One on Monday, one on Friday, and then the Wednesdays are more of a question and answer, just so we're all on the same page. If people have any issues, we can talk about it. So that's working really well. I'm keeping in contact, of course, with the Web EOC for the state and our state Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management. So we're all working as a team on this. Team Rubicon is here working with, and then the National Guard, so they're helping in advanced planning, recovery efforts, and they're putting together a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have time for. So we're very grateful for them to be here. And we're also beginning to emphasize to all of these sections that we have to begin a planning process for the recovery, trying to decide on protocols and procedures for each of us and where we're headed. So we're kind of assisting in that, the new change that may come about here shortly. Mass care and sheltering. The homeless shelter will be good by the end of this month, April 30th. They got like 14 people in there now. We're working on a solution. Gina Montoya and I, and well, several others, but Gina's heading that up. We're looking at trying to assist our homeless at this time, trying to come up with a solution and a protocol on how, if it's possible, to shelter at this time until this slows down a little bit. But we're working on all of that information right now. The alternate care sites we talked about a little bit, and then and the congregate shelter we're working on. For those college is on the list to become the tier 3 for our region, which would house quite a few people, so that's good pre-planning. We're just waiting on the state. They're working on trigger points for that, so we're going to see how that turns out. The logistics support, of course, we're still working on getting everybody what they need, and I think we're getting closer to catching up, which is very good. Public health, I know that Bobby's coming on soon, but they're still working hard. And the hospital is still testing. And we talked about it earlier, but there's no COVID-19 patients in the hospital at this time. 11 patients are recovering, so that's really good news. So I'm glad to hear that. The EMS is normal operations, and the healthcare facilities are at normal operations. The report for the state, of course, you know, we're up to 449 deaths. It was slowly rising, but they have the cases in there and the counties that are affected. But the safety concerns that I have, again, are La Plata County's at 51 cases, Archuleta County's at 7. San Juan County, New Mexico did a pretty good jump. They're at 293 with 17 deaths. San Miguel County's at 17. The Apache County in Arizona, they're at 202 with 4 deaths. San Juan County, Utah is 29 cases with 2 deaths. Both tribes now are reporting no cases. And then the Navajo Nation, I just heard from Shaq, but they're at 1,321, and the last I had was 48 deaths, unless we have a change in that. So that's pretty disturbing to have that amount down in that nation. So these are the safety concerns that surround us. You all know we're at 13 positive, and out of those 13, we have, you know, the 2 deaths. But the health department's great. They're doing an outstanding job in contact tracing. Anytime we get a new case, they jump on it. So it's working well that way. Let's see. Animal shelter still up about 10% capacity, so we're doing good there. Energy, normal operations in propane, electric, power grids. Public safety, I know the sheriff's coming on pretty soon. He can give you maybe more of a detail, but I think with the police, Mancus Marshal, and the State Patrol, and the sheriff, they're all normal operations. Of course, they're experiencing a little increase in domestic violence cases, and then welfare checks and unattended deaths. So those are going up a little. We had 3 personnel quarantined. They're possibly getting out today, but we may have another one. I'll let the sheriff kind of talk about that. The long-term recovery, the planning department, of course, is working with the Tri-City Chambers of Commerce. And the last I heard was anywhere providing 500 businesses emails up to 700. So we're working hard at getting that information out to the business owners on how to apply, you know, for their grants that they need. The public assistance grants are available now through the FEMA website, and most of the government entities are now have applied and got their DUN numbers, so we're ready to try to get some reimbursement going. Our joint information system has the 7 public information officers, and they kind of get together, but Vicki is our lead PIO, and she's the one working directly with all the questions and concerns from the public, and she's posting and, writing up any kind of talking points for people. She's pretty busy, so I have some free PIOs coming in from the state that are very experienced, that can plug in play with her, and we should have them by Monday. I'm hopeful they'll be here by Monday to assist in everything we need to do for our PSAs or whatever. Again, the military support's here. They're doing a great job. They're assisting us in everything. So, and then Mesa Verde is still closed until further notice. And our business industries, I spoke with all the big boxes again last week. They're doing well. The shelves are full. They're filling up. They're able to actually put in their own orders and not just get whatever they are given. There's still, a little shortage on tissue paper and toilet paper, et cetera, but they're doing well. They're keeping up with the demand. And even the smaller grocery stores, I spoke with them. So far, estimated actual cost by our county that we put in, and this is not in kind, this is actual cost, is $97,028. And we have a breakdown of that we're putting together if you ever need to look at that. Our main, our main concerns again is the high impact of media coverage, and we're working very strongly on that, so we're getting the extra PIOs. The resource availability of trying to get resources and figure out what we can get and donations, so that's why we have the National Guard in to assist in helping us with that. And then of course having a death in our population is critical, and so we have 2 of those, so we're keeping a pretty good eye on all of that. So that's kind of the long and the short of it, gentlemen. Any questions?
Commissioners or staff, any questions for the emergency manager?
Not right offhand. I think everything's just kind of sitting there, kind of status quo, and we're kind of in that. Looks to me like we're in that hovering place. We're kind of everything's just staying very stable for us, and I guess that's probably as good as we could ask for. We're very stable with everything, and I think everybody's on top of what their responsibilities are, and that's good.
And I would agree with that, Commissioner Sukla. I don't have anything else for Mr. Spratland. Thank you.
All right, well, Jim, thank you for the emergency management update. We appreciate it, and we hope you have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Bobby, Health Department is next on the agenda. Bobby, are you here to give us an update?
Yes, I am here. I was planning on going into the contracts, but do you want to just hear what we're doing in public health first? More than
yes,
maybe.
I would.
Okay. So
yes,
pretty much at this point, we're doing the same thing that all the county departments are. We're going to be discussing how we are going to slowly open our doors here to the public, and considering all of our programs that we do and what that looks like. We're waiting for guidance from specific programs such as WIC, NFP. We do have some guidance related to our dental opening, so we're working on putting all that down on paper and what that's going to look like. So, and so far some of the county departments that have shared their opening plans, it's worked great. Sorry, I'm checking to make sure I'm not getting a call from the lab, but I'm not, so we're good. Let's see, we are definitely dealing with a couple, most businesses have been really, really good. But we do have a couple businesses that we're having compliant issues with. But I have to say the Cortez PD has been very helpful. So lots of good partnerships going on, and we appreciate that. So do you have any questions in regards to public health and how we're operating under these COVID-19 situation right now? Otherwise, I'll move on to the contract.
Any questions, commissioners or staff? All right, continue, Bobby.
Okay, so the contract we have, this is my first time dealing with DocuSign. I think you guys have dealt with it already so far this year, but so this is our first official DocuSign contract. I sent it to Shaq, so I'm hopeful that you all have seen it, and it will need your signature, Larry Don, and this is in regards to our CNC, the Colorado National Collaborative. This is the suicide prevention grant that we had written for. We have, due to COVID-19 and the limitations in which we have been functioning, we have not hired this position yet, but I will tell you we have a couple interviews upcoming next week, so hopefully we can get this position filled. And so this grant is for the CNC suicide prevention. As you can see by the fiscal years listed on the document, they have front-loaded it. So the first year, which really it was only really actually a half a year, to be honest, because it only goes to August, actually July 31st, if you look at the budget. And I have Laurel on here too. So Laurel, if I say something incorrectly, please type up and correct me on this. But so the first fiscal year is $70,000. It's front loaded for the work that was needed to be done, written in the scope of work. They're going to work with us on this because obviously, having not hired the person yet and having them up and running, we are going to be behind the 8 ball on some work. But they totally, obviously, this is a state-funded program with the state contracts, so they're right in the midst of all COVID-19 as well. So I think they are going to work with us on how this is going to look. They'll modify the expectations. And it will be a full-time position because we're combining our Essentials for Childhood role with the CNC role. So it's a 40-hour position that will be funded by both grants put together. And the work definitely overlaps, so it was a good fit. So that is this contract. If you look at the budget itself, there's 2 separate budgets. One of them starts once we execute this contract, and it runs till July 31st of 2020. And then the next contract budget starts August 1st to June 30th next year. And that one drops down to $42,629. So the first year is $70,028. So we're probably not going to spend all that because we, like I said, we don't have the person hired, but it'll be modified according to the scope of work and when we hire this person. So, any questions on this contract?
Commissioners?
None for me.
I have a question, Bobby. This is John Baxter. I don't know that I've seen this, and usually you send these to me, and it might be my fault. Maybe I missed it. Do you know if I've seen this? Because I'm not recognizing it.
I sent it to Shaq, and because I wasn't sure how this DocuSign thing worked, and then I don't know what Shaq did.
So I sent it out with the packets Friday night, John, but I just tried to open it right now, and it said for our security, which I'm sure they're concerned about, they just sent us a new document. So, Bobby, you should have that in your email again if you want to forward that out to John and Larry Don, and whichever one opens it first, the other one shouldn't be able to.
I remember now. I did try to open it, and was not capable of opening a file.
I could not open the document either. I got it Friday night with your packet, Shaq. I mean, the document is there, but as all you can see is just what you're showing on the screen. So as far as reviewing the document, I haven't reviewed it either because I couldn't get it open.
And so ordinarily, these are kind of stock contracts written by the state. They're not negotiable. They're usually pretty straightforward. So I just like to put my eyes on it. That's all. I don't anticipate there being any issues with it.
Absolutely no, and I apologize for that because this is totally new format, and so I will forward. I'm doing it right now to all of you.
Can we do this? Can we, the most important person whose eyes needs to look at it is the county lawyer, could John look at it? We could do a pre-approval, an approval based on John signing off. Would that work?
Works for me.
I honestly don't know, Larry Don, about that because I think there has to be a signature on it. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that the county commissioners could approve it based, with John giving approval after he reviews the document. If there's a glitch, then it looks like we're going to have a special meeting in a day or two. We could make the motion and sign it then as well. Any
I
thoughts?
can look at it
Commissioner?
right now, though.
Okay.
We can just put it down later on the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
If
That would be
gives you
fine,
enough time,
yes.
John.
So can you just confirm with me that you guys have it and you were able to open it?
I'm trying to open it right now.
I just want to know that it made it. And
I have nothing from you, Bobby, via email.
I've got it open.
okay, so you were able to open it. Okay, good. You're probably going to get it, Jim. I would think if John got it, because I sent it to all of you. So, yeah, this is all new territory. Supposedly going to conserve on paper and time, and so hopefully it will once we figure all the glitches out.
Yeah,
Okay.
this
We'll go ahead and put it at the end of the agenda. We'll have John review it, and then we'll bring it back up. Is that okay, Bobby? Do you have anything else?
The only other thing I wanted to mention is our air monitoring. I got an email last week, actually it was a couple weeks ago, from the state, and apparently this is a good thing actually, that our ozone is not necessarily a concern. We have the lowest in the Four Corners region, and so they're asking what we would like to do. They obviously would like to use their equipment elsewhere if we are willing to relinquish the ozone monitoring that goes on our rooftop in this building. But if it's kind of up to you all if you want to continue the monitoring or if you're willing to let it go. So I wanted to present that to you and see what you think.
Bobby, what do they pay us for that ozone monitoring? Aren't there some financial considerations with this?
There are, and it basically just covers our costs to do what we do for it. Laurel, I don't have that in front of me. Do you have the total dollar amount?
I sure do. The total annual amount is $34,387, and we turn around and pay most of that to Air Resource Services, who ensures that monitoring device is maintained, continuing to read. It covers all of that extra cost and that. I mean, I think we probably keep 7,000 of that 34 for our time and electricity and that, so it's not that much.
I remember it correctly that it's actually kind of hard to get that back. Would that be the case if we were to relinquish it?
That's a good point, Larry Dunn. I don't know. Since I've been director, we've always had it, so I don't know what it took to get it here. I can certainly reach back out to the state contact who emailed me and ask him that if we were to relinquish it, how many hoops would we have to jump through to get it back if we had a concern or a problem here? I could certainly ask and see if that would help you guys make a decision. That would be fine.
Yeah, Bobby, I would like to investigate this a bit more, and I would also like to maybe the ozone in our community is way down, but I would think this air monitoring hookup that we've got up there on your building might be used for other types like methane or something like that. I would not want to turn loose of this site, at least not now. I think we should hang on to that.
And I would also agree with that, Commissioner Tell. If it's not costing us anything and we're being able to monitor that and maybe other things with it, I don't think that we would let it go at this point in time at all.
Okay,
I feel the same way. It's an important piece of equipment.
Okay, so why don't we just leave it at that then, and I'll just respond to him and tell him that, even though despite the fact that our accounts are low, at this point in time, we're not willing to let it go out of our community, and we'd like to just renew the contract and just leave it at that.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay,
And one last thing, can you find out what else can we monitor with it?
I can sure ask.
Yeah.
If there's anything else at all, just an ask.
Okay,
Yeah.
will do. All right, so we'll be working on developing that contract, and I'll be bringing that to you. It's contract season, so there's gonna be, I think CDPHE is running a little bit behind, given COVID-19, but, there'll be lots more contracts coming your way, so. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bobby, and then we'll bring back up your DocuSign contract towards the end of the meeting after John's review.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
I've looked at it, Commissioner Sukla, and it's good. It's what I expected it was, and there's nothing scary in it.
All right, commissioners, how about we make a decision then?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I would like to move that, that our health department, sign and renew this agreement with, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, for what do they call this document?
They called it Contract 2020*3672.
Okay, good. Thank you, Commissioner. I didn't see that. Thank you. That's good.
And I would second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the contract for the DocuSign contract number C 2020*372. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. There you go, Bobby. We'll get it signed for you today.
All right, thank you very much.
I think, Bobby, you're the only one who signs it, aren't you?
No, the signature page is, well, see, it's weird because on the signature page, page 505, it says contractor, Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County for the Public Health Department. And then it says by signature and it has the health department listed. So it says the county commissioners though. So I think that the commissioner needs to sign it. And that's how we've always done
I agree.
CDPHE contracts. I don't have the authority to sign these contracts.
I agree. It does say the director of Montezuma County Health Department, but we've always had the commissioners do this, and
Correct.
I think we have the chair do it.
Okay, I agree.
All right, we'll consider it done. So,
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you, Bobby.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Let's go on to public safety. We're going to start off with the sheriff. Good morning, Sheriff. Are you there?
Good morning. Can you hear me all?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, my webcam quit on me, so I can't get fixed. Yeah, typical. Just bring you up some of the basic information. In the month of March, we had 1,833 total calls for service. That included, like you heard from the emergency manager, our increase in domestic violence and disturbance calls. We have 16 disturbances. Domestic violence was 11. Just in the month of March, we're starting to see in the month of April this starting to increase even more. We have also had an increase in welfare checks. This is people not being able to respond to family or their medical providers that we go out and check. We had 24 of those in the month of March. Several of those ended up being unattended deaths. We're back up to, as of the first week of April, we have 24-hour coverage in the county, so that's why we're starting to see, you're going to see a big increase on security checks, business checks. This is what our deputies are doing besides responding to calls, is checking a lot of these businesses that are closed because of this pandemic thing that we're all experiencing and going through, with people not being able to work. Other than that, we can move into where we're at with the detention center for the month of March. Sorry, Shaq, you'll never be able to keep up with me, brother. We had, at March the 1st, we had 108 days where we had our our inmate populations. We're at 108. Went up as high as 110 for a few days for the first week and a half in March. By March the 12th, started to reduce. A lot of inmates that had already served more than half of their sentence that we were holding here were misdemeanor crimes. So shows here on the record that by the 19th of March, reduced the population to 80. At the end of March, we were down to 76. Please understand with those total numbers, there are 6 inmates that we still show that are in our custody that are out of the detention facility. They're actually within the state mental institutions and other locations of where they're at because of court orders. So today we're right at about, I think the count is 68. Right now we had 3 arrests, which were mandatory arrests. And that's all we've been doing is that I shut the jail down to intake other than mandatory arrests that have to occur by court order or by state statute. All other crimes and whatnot are taken care of by officers in all of the agencies, including ours, by summonses set out anywhere from 60 to 90 days out. So I can imagine when this all opens up again, we're going to be extremely busy, and not only in the courts but in our detention center as well. I have also included, I've started to include this year the transport costs that we have. You can see that in January we had 291 hours were actually involved with this. We've had no transports in the first part of March. Here recently we had 2 transports to deal with just this month. And these were major felony crimes that had to come into the facility, and we had 2 that went out to other jurisdictions because of their crimes after they were done serving sentences here. So it's kind of a give and take, and it all works out evenly. When we move to what our billing costs were, you'll see in the month of March that we had crimes that had to come in. Okay, I'm not sure who was asking that. Sorry. Okay, I'll continue. You can see that the municipal courts in the month of March, it wasn't until about the 20th of March that the municipal courts, especially Cortez, are not having anyone come into court. Courts are closed. Everybody that has been charged is given a PR bond once they come in and go out of the facility. We had $2,925 billed for the month of March to the city of Cortez for inmate counts, and right now it's very few that we have for the city of Cortez. Dolores County Sheriff's Office was billed $2,700 for the inmate that they have brought into the facility in the month of March. I believe we're down to just 4 right now that we're still holding for them. Department of Corrections, as you look at one, you're going to see that we had limited days with Department of Correction holds. These are people that were convicted or pled guilty to their felony crime here in Montezuma County. We're doing real good about picking folks up until about March the 12th, where we'd only have them for a couple of days. And now it's starting to grow even more because the Department of Corrections has actually put a hold on picking BOCC prisoners until they can get all of their facilities straightened out with their COVID-19 exposures and whatnot. So you're going to see it's going to be billed a heck of a lot more starting in the month of April. We're holding about 12. I did get notified that they were going to pick up 2. It should be today or tomorrow. Hope they can start getting those inmates out of our facility and into the Department of Correction prisons. But they were billed $2,342.40 for 40 inmate holds at $50.56. That's pretty much the figures that we have that we billed out for the month of March. You'll see that there will be a lot more billed out in the month of April. Seen a lot with a lot of the protocols that were put into place right after this pandemic episode happened within the state and in the county with the Emergency Public Health Act and whatnot. So takes were limited. Procedures were put in place for infectious disease under our policy back in the jail. I got to tell you that the jail staff were fully staffed. In fact, the 3 that were out for the last 14 days for self-quarantine are back to work now. And I'll tell you, the procedures that we have in place have really saved this detention facility from exposure. You just never know if you're going to get it, but the procedures we have in place is that we don't accept anybody that is sick unless it is a major felony crime anyway. But they go to the hospital first and to get tested. When they're brought into the facility, they're kept into the holding cells within the booking area. No one is put into the pods where the general populations are at. Every inmate is checked, examined for health, and any symptoms, as well as temperatures are taken. And in some cases, it's twice a day that that's happened. The facility is cleaned out every morning and every night. And I'll tell you, right now we have had no COVID-19 cases whatsoever. We have one that is in a temporary hold from just over the weekend that exposed actually 2 of our deputies to a potential. The hospital really helped me out by getting the physicians to prioritize the testing of this individual. I can tell you now that he tested negative for the influenzas A and B. We should get the COVID test either today or tomorrow morning of what that is. If it's negative, it could be actually a drug-induced fever that this person had. He did have a mild cough, but at the time that he was arrested by Memphis Marshals, he was claiming that he was infected. So because that actually put 2 of our deputies on patrol division into a self-quarantine until we can actually find out what this person's condition is. He is housed individually and away from the rest of the inmates within the facility. Right now, that's kind of where we're at. It's changes day to day, but a lot of protocols were put into place early, which really helped. We do have a decon procedure for not only our patrol staff, but also in detentions, where every detention deputy is deconned at the end of their shifts before they leave this building. So they're not taking anything home. Uniforms are washed separately daily, and I've lightened up the uniform requirements so that it makes it easier for them to come in a Class B type uniform to work. Our detention staff is full PPE, has been for several weeks. The health department and our emergency manager has really helped me in obtaining equipment that we desperately needed, such as face shields. We were good on gloves and masks. We also have booties that are used, and that's the way that the deputies are every single day or moment of their shift and every daily shift.
Sheriff, is that applying to your patrol deputies as well as your detention deputies, the use of PPE and masks and gloves?
Yes, they do. They have them all. They do use those anytime that they're going to be in contact with people or are required to. In talking with people, there's always a distance that's kept within, at least 6 feet if possible. If they have to make physical contact on calls, it's always done with gloves and masks. Not necessarily face shields because of the restriction, but so long as they have those, if they're in physical contact with anyone that is suspected to have an illness, once that situation is taken care of, the decon procedure falls into place, and they are immediately deconned at fire station number 3 in Cortez.
Any other questions, commissioners?
Yes, Commissioner Sukla, I'd like to, Sheriff Nowlin, I go by your new facility with your impound yard, and I've noticed some vehicles that, along with your motor scooters that are showing up there. There was a Porsche Carrera in there for a while, and now there's a Range Rover. Are these confiscated vehicles, or what's going on with those vehicles that are showing up in your impound yard?
Those are felony cases. The Porsche was actually it was a Ferrari. It was stolen and recovered from a burglary in the county. That was returned to the owner. The other vehicle was actually picked up on drug trafficking, and that vehicle is waiting for disposition from the district attorney. The motorcycles are stolen. We're just waiting for the owners to come and get them. They're out of Albuquerque, Mexico. So there's a lot of travel restrictions now for folks, and so that's kind of putting us on hold. Yeah.
All right. I got you. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have none, Commissioner Sukla, other than just, it's good to hear that there are no cases in our jail.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Candelaria and Commissioner Ertel. Sheriff, thank you for your update. We really appreciate it. Mr. Nowlin.
I appreciate it. I'm always available to any of you at any time, as you know. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Coroner's report, George Devers. Your turn, sir.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot, but Jack wanted me to give you a virtual tour of the morgue.
So we can't see
just
you,
kind of
though,
where we're
George.
at for the year so far. We're 36 deaths and only 2 suicides, which is good. And we got the morgue up and running.
George, I don't think we can see your video.
Well, I'm getting ready to turn the video on, I hope.
Okay.
But it's not letting me.
Huh.
You got a 6-year-old there handy that can help you with that technical difficulty?
Amen, brother.
I'm hitting the video camera with the...
Give it just a second. I sent you a link you should be able to hit, I think.
George, while we're waiting for the video to come up, how are things working with you between La Plata County and Archuleta and your pathologist that's performing the autopsies? How's that? Can you give me a number of out of county autopsies you've done in your morgue so far?
Right now, 0.
Not a one.
Thing called coronavirus that has everybody kind of spooked to leave and go anywhere.
So you're not doing any autopsies? Is your pathologist not coming?
Oh, he's coming. We've done our cases here. He loves the place. He wants everybody here, but everybody's kind of skittish right now of leaving the county. This thing's still not working, Jack. I keep seeing the thing that says allowed to use the camera.
Yeah. Do you have your phone in a protective case like an OtterBox? Maybe you need to reverse the camera or take it out of the OtterBox.
No.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, why don't you just move forward? We can still hear you.
Okay, well, without showing you the morgue, I really don't have anything else to say unless you guys have any questions.
Yeah, George, I guess I'm not quite clear. In Archuleta, they're not bringing their autopsy cases to you? Are they doing them in La Plata County and Archuleta County? Is that what I understand?
Right now, La Plata County is still doing them. There's not a lot of cases going on right now. Our pathologist is not wanting to do a lot of autopsies because of COVID. So those have kind of been down. He's wanting everybody that he does an autopsy on to be tested for COVID before he'll even start to look at it.
Any other questions?
Well, I guess I'm confused. I thought that La Plata was in agreement with us that when we put in this morgue and arranged with the pathologist to do autopsies over here, that's where they were going to be done. That's
what they keep telling me they're coming over here. They're just waiting for things to calm down a little bit.
But he's still doing autopsies in La Plata County at Hood?
The pathologist is, yeah, doing their cases over there.
I didn't think that was the deal.
Well, they're supposed to be coming over.
Have you talked to him? Have you asked him why he's still doing autopsies in Durango?
He does the autopsies for her wherever she wants to have them right now.
Who is her, George?
Jan, the coroner in La Plata County, Jan Smith.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Didn't you have a verbal agreement with Jan that autopsies were going to come here when this facility was put in and up and running?
Yes, I did.
But that's not happening.
No, not yet. She keeps telling me they're going to be coming over here, but they just have not come over here yet.
Do you have any suggestions, Commissioner Tell?
Well, I'm not sure. I thought the pathologist and the La Plata County coroner were in agreement that when this facility was up and running, that their autopsy or posting will be coming over there, and that the pathologist and Hood wanted them out of their mortuary, and that it was all going to be coming over here. But I guess I don't know what I misunderstood.
Well, I just haven't seen what they were doing yet. I don't know if they have some kind of agreement right now. Hood doesn't want any COVID cases in his cooler, so he's using the coroner's cooler. I don't know if they have the deal worked out while this is going on. They're not charging them for autopsies. I don't know. Jan just tells me that they are going to be coming over here, but I have yet to see them here yet. I asked her again last week when they're going to be coming over, and she said, whenever we get some cases, we'll be coming over. So I don't know.
Commissioner Tell, I think if we could just have George email Jan, kind of just get something that he can share with us as to what their intent is moving forward. I think that would probably set our minds at ease.
Yeah, maybe after the 27th with the partial opening, that might be the date that she starts bringing them. I don't know.
Correct. Possibly. Can you do that for us, George? Touch base with her via email and find out what the intent is and the day, possibly if it is the 27th moving forward?
I can certainly do that.
And I would like to get the attitude of your pathologist, because I thought he was in agreement with this situation, that he was no longer going to do autopsies in La Plata County when this lab was opened over here, that he only wanted to do autopsies in one place. Now he's doing them in both places.
Yeah, and he loves this place. He wants them over here bad.
You know what? I'll bet he could get that done if he said, I'm not going to do them in La Plata County anymore, Jan. Like he told you he wasn't going to do them in Montezuma County. Enough out of me.
All right, well, let's move on. Any other questions for the coroner?
I have none.
All right, thank you, George, for your update. We'll look forward to the information that you're about to go after. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, have a great day. Let's go to the district attorney. The district attorney, Will First, are you there? Shaq, do you have the district attorney, Mr. First, on the line?
I do not, I only see one phone number that I don't recognize, but I do not see Will or Clarissa or Matt on here. And I did send them the link. So.
All right, so, well, let's just hope that they can jump back into the agenda if they show up. Why don't we just go on then to the county attorney's report?
Well, we have public lands after the district attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Derek Padilla will not be joining us, but Connie Clemenston is here.
Okay, then let's go with public lands. Is that okay, commissioners?
Sounds fine by me.
That's fine by me.
All right, Connie, are you there?
Can you hear me? Good morning.
Good morning, Connie. Yes, we can hear you.
Well, Commissioners, good morning.
Good morning. How are things going on public lands?
You know, the BLM remains open, with the exception of the museum and visitor center. It was interesting. We tried to stay open, but as the Moab closed down and the Park Service closed down, we received more and more visitors and found it impossible to maintain CDC guidance with social distancing and that sort of thing. So we really were put in the awkward position of, in order to protect our volunteers and our employees and be respectful of implement CDC guidance with the public, we made the hard decision to close. So we've been closed since the 23rd of March. So other than that, we have our developed sites remain open. Bradfield, Overlook, Mountain Sheep Point, Box Elder campgrounds all remain open and available to the public. So we're trying our best to work with the public and make sure that they are still being able to get out and enjoy their public lands, but being respectful of the CDC guidance that is out there. Additionally, we've done a few workarounds in order to protect employees for the cleaning of our toilet facilities. So we've actually added porta-johns at a few of our locations, including Lowry and Bradfield Bridge. And we're monitoring toilets to make sure that we can provide those services as best we can. Posting them and letting the public know that they are responsible for their own sanitary needs and that we know we're doing the best we can with that. So that's kind of update on the COVID side of things. All of our employees are teleworking unless they're essential, like law enforcement and the fire guys and that sort of thing. So people are learning how to telework and do their jobs, only coming in occasionally to the office if they need certain sorts of files or that sort of thing. So probably similar to what you all are doing.
Connie, can I go back real quick to the closure? Is the closure, is it illegal then to go onto the BLM property, or does that mean that the BLM office is closed?
The public lands are open, and
okay,
the BLM is open. The office itself is also open, Larry Dawn. It's just that we ask that people call ahead of time. So if you need a firewood permit, you call ahead of time so I can have the right person here to do that because we're working. But BLM is open for business.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, unless there's any questions about that aspect of our lives right now, I'll give you a quick update on other things.
Okay.
Okay. So if you hadn't heard, the BLM here in Tres Rios was helping with a horse adoption that was going to be at the fairgrounds here at the 1st of May. And that was a horse for the wild horses, not out of our field office, but out of other field offices. We were just hosting it in Cortez at the fairgrounds. We have since announced that that's being canceled and will be rescheduled for a future date. And that announcement, I think, came out as late as yesterday. So if you're getting questions from your constituents about that, we are having that right now, just because we didn't feel like we could maintain the social distance that really CDC is encouraging folks to do. Sand Canyon parking lot, if you haven't been out there, that's been kind of an adventure for us. We actually got it all built, and they were going to come in and put the stabilizer down. This oil-based stabilizer was added, but the contractor added it very unevenly, so it created a real mess out there. So we opened the parking lot and then we closed it back down, and now we're actually having the contractor come back and try to fix that stabilizer, which looks to me almost just like a chip seal type of surface. So we're probably going to add that oil-based surface again, have the contractor do that, and then we may go back in and add additional gravel on top of that. So kind of a little bit of snafu there, but overall the parking lot is going to be really usable, and it has been well received so far. The next item go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, just continue. Thanks,
Okay.
Connie.
The last item I have today, unless there's questions, is that we will be sending out a scoping document on the Painted Hand Road reroute. And we're also going to add to that some work on setting up a brand new parking lot there, a better parking lot, maybe a couple picnic tables with shelters, a future toilet, if we can ever afford that, and some kiosks. Because, Painted Hand, quite frankly, are gyms in Canham, and it's just such a primitive parking lot. We felt like, now that we've got Sand Canyon done, we've got that under our belt, that doing some improvements at Painted Hand is the right thing to do, in addition just to that issue with the road going through private property without legal access. So we're going to correct that as well with the reroute of the road. So hoping to get that out to the public for comment here in the next couple of weeks.
All right.
That's all I have. We're trying to stay busy and, and keep the employees working and motivated. It's, as you can well imagine with your staff, it's interesting times with schools being closed and parents trying to school their kids and do their jobs, and that we hope that we probably will never have to live through again, I guess.
Yes. Commissioners, any questions for Connie with the BLM? Well, thank you for your update, Connie. We appreciate it. We hope you stay safe.
Thank you, Larry.
Well, I was muted, Commissioner Sucre. It's kind of back and forth here, but Connie, thank you for that parking lot down there again, and getting it back opened up as much as possible. I was down there viewing those a couple weeks ago, and those are being utilized, and great addition to this community. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jim. You know what? As frustrating as it was for the board, this partnership's been a pretty important one, with you guys setting up your parking lot and then the addition of Sand Canyon, and we just were so fortunate that our engineer folks had some money to pull this off, because I don't know how many years we were going to have to wait for that. So, the parking lot gods were on our side when it came to some funding for the BLM, so it was just a really fortunate situation. Had we not gotten that money, parking lot would have been even more important. That said, the combination of the two is really ideal. So good partnership, and thank you, commissioners.
Yes, it was a good partnership. We're glad that everything worked out for the community.
Connie, this is Commissioner Tang. I do have one question for you, and you may not be able to answer this. We haven't heard from our Canyon of the Ancients monument people in a while, but I want to know where the EA on that Wallace property and on the Flowdine permits out there, where are we at with those?
Yes, Keenan, I can tell you that. So I just met with the acting monument manager, Amanda, the other day. And, you know, the big thing that we had to struggle with, as you recall, is we had to do additional cultural surveys.
You're breaking up, Connie. Your voice is breaking up, at least on my end. I'm not getting what you're saying.
Can you start over, Connie?
Yes, can you hear me any better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me start over. So I met with our monument manager the other day, and as you recall, several months ago, we had to do additional cultural surveys. Unfortunately, that contractor got way behind schedule, so it took almost 9 extra months to get that survey back to the government so we could get it submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office. As a result of that, we have to do some additional ground truthing with the concerns about impacts from livestock to cultural sites. So I am working through right now with the State Historic Preservation Office and our archaeologists and our range guys to get that solved. But I feel like we see the light at the tunnel, end of the tunnel. So as soon as I get that additional work done, I want to sit down and perhaps do a work session with y'all so you can understand what we've had to navigate through with this. It's been an interesting journey for me as well to try to navigate something that's been out there for hundreds of years, and I'm talking about the livestock versus the cultural. And coordinating the protection of cultural resources with the appropriate use of livestock grazing. And I want the commissioners to know that the BLM does feel that livestock grazing is an appropriate use, but we've had to navigate the cultural stuff out there. But I feel like we have a good path forward. I've been frustrated because it has not moved as fast, but with the acting managers going through, I've had to take a more active role in that, and I feel like we're actually moving along faster than we did previously. So that's the rosy spin, but it's not the answer you want to hear, Keenan, but I will always be straight with you on where we're at.
Well, Connie, you know, I'm probably going to be not only not a commissioner, but I'll probably be in my grave before you guys ever get to the end of this search to see if we can put cattle back on a place that they've been on there for 100 years. So, yeah. You may be frustrated, but I'm going to tell you what, I am way more frustrated than you are with this.
And rightfully so, Keenan. Because the BLM didn't act on that previously under the previous leadership, it did set for way too long. Now that I'm taking an engaged role because of the vacancy of the monument manager, it has moved increasingly faster. So I will give you that as my reassurance, but I know it's not the answer you want to hear. And I would probably agree with you. I don't think the EA is going to be done before the election, but I am pushing as quickly as I can. And I know that you guys know how interesting and difficult it is to navigate SHPO. So just know that that's part of this complexity. Until the leadership changes there, we will continue to have these challenges. Larry Don, I think you're talking to me, but I can't hear you.
You're unmuted now, go ahead.
Oh, I'm muted now. Shaq's shutting us up.
Okay.
Is there any other questions, commissioners, for Connie?
I have none. Thank you, Connie.
All right, thank you, Larry Don.
Yes, and thank you, Connie. We appreciate the update. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking over you.
Take care, and you guys stay safe, and I look forward to the reopenings of businesses and some normalcy back in our lives. So let's all hope and pray for that. Take care.
All right, you have a great day, Connie. Thank you. It's been brought to my attention that Carissa for the district attorney is on, so we could backtrack on the agenda and go to the district attorney's report.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Shaq, do we have Carissa for the district attorney on?
Yes. Clarissa, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. He's supposed to be calling on, and
It looks like he's getting on right now.
I think he's,
Well, do you have anything for us while he's getting on, or?
I think he was just going to update you guys on sort of what our plans are for the office. The Supreme Court has issued some sort of different protocols, so there's Mr. First. I will let him take over.
All right. Good morning, Will. How are you?
Good morning. How are you all?
We're doing great.
Good.
Well,
Good. Sorry for the delayed appearance. Thanks for being here today. I just maybe start out with any questions you might have. Otherwise, I can just give you a general explanation of what has been going on in the DA's office.
I don't have any questions. I'll just listen to what you have, Will.
Was there anyone else that had questions before I just gave a general overview?
Continue, Will.
Okay, thanks. So we are operating under kind of a mixed bag of operatives and directives from the governor, from our chief judge, and from the Supreme Court. Essentially, all attorneys are appearing via WebEx or phone for all hearings, and the court has more or less limited its business to matters of what the Supreme Court has deemed critically important, primarily bond hearings for folks that are arrested every night, as well as what are called preliminary hearings or probable cause hearings for felony cases, and really just kind of limiting their business to matters of that type. The Public Defender's Office has closed statewide their offices to the public, and each DA's office with whom I contact and have conference calls every Wednesday are by and large doing the same. They're kind of limiting their offices to skeleton crews where only folks who are necessarily needed in the office are coming to work. Our office is entirely remote, with the exception of a few people that come in throughout the week, including Clarissa, including Brenda Wright, who are there to kind of do some of the things that need to be done physically in the office, but by and large, our office is on a remote telecommuting schedule. IT has been great in helping us out with that, and we had to buy a few extra laptops and printers to accomplish business at home, but by and large, folks are accomplishing that and doing what the court has required us to do. We are kind of waiting to hear what the Supreme Court might do post June 1st. The Supreme Court has vacated all jury summonses and all jury trial requirements prior to June 1st. So we're not even looking at a trial until after June 1st, and we'll see again probably in the next few weeks if they're going to extend that order. There's been a number of litigations throughout the state related to these jury trial cancellations and their effect on what's called speedy trial. As you all know, when someone is arrested and charged with a crime, they have, by Colorado statute, 6 months to come to trial. And sometimes that 6-month requirement or limit is in competition with the Supreme Court's order to cancel jury trials. We have not had too many issues with that locally, but in the Front Range, we're waiting for a Supreme Court decision on how COVID-19 is going to affect one's right to a speedy trial and whether or not this constitutes good cause or reason to extend that speedy trial. That's going to be important for us as we start to resume business moving forward, either the summer or fall. That's when all of these jury trials are going to start coming together and having a large number of jury trials and hearings during that time, as we've kind of pushed them all off until June and July. We'll see how that plays out and kind of go from there. My folks are going to be working at home again this week. We're all aware of the governor's order with the kind of relaxing of restrictions and the, I think it's called the safer at home protocol versus the stay at home requirement. For us, the telecommuting has not resulted in a big disruption of business. And so I'm kind of erring on the side of caution and asking my folks to stay home this week, and we're going to start reevaluating next week and giving out probably a rotating schedule on people coming in, being able to work in the space that you provided us in a safe and distant way, and kind of continue to roll through this thing. Trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't touched upon. Oh, I guess kind of as an update, I was discussing this a little bit with John last week. What we are seeing is a reduction of arrests day to day as far as those who are incarcerated. I think that's really good. I think that this pandemic has had a positive effect on how law enforcement treats suspects and offenders. I think that the use of summons versus arrests is on the rise, and that's a really good thing, certainly for Montezuma County as it houses a detention facility, but also just kind of the justice system at large, where pretrial incarceration is not something that we necessarily believe is appropriate for all offenses, but really the most serious. And so we are seeing a number of serious crimes coming before the courts and asking if the court keep those folks in jail on a high bond when appropriate. But by and large, the day-to-day offenses that we see are fairly minor, and police are justifiably using summonses versus the jail as a means of bringing those cases to court. So that's a good thing. It also helps us relieve the immediate need to address these cases on a daily basis, and kind of sets them out a period of 30, 60, or 90 days so we can deal with them more effectively as we experience the reduction of closures and health requirements. We have one business in Cortez that seems to be problematic with regard to following orders of CDPHE and the governor. We're dealing with that with law enforcement, and we'll see how that plays out. But by and large, we have not had issues related to businesses or individuals following the state's orders, and we appreciate that. We think that's in everyone's interest, and hopefully that compliance will continue. Besides that, I welcome any questions or concerns that the board or members of our community might have.
Any questions, commissioners?
I have none at this time.
Nor do I.
Thank you, Will, for the update. Stay safe. We appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and feel free to email me any questions. Otherwise, I'm at your call as to when to reappear.
All right. Thank you, Mr. First.
Thank you. See ya.
County Attorney Report, Mr. John Baxter. You're up next, sir.
Yeah, I don't have a lot more to add. We're finishing up some contracts, again, for the non-congregate segregation. We are fielding contracts from every department still, business as usual, besides the court system. Will, I think, enlightened you on, you all usually ask about those jury trials and whether or not we're having them or not, but our Supreme Court Justice, like Will said, has canceled everything until June at least. I think that they are being more conservative than what the governor's office is doing. I don't know if they're going to reassess that or how that will progress, but court's a quiet place right now. It's done by WebEx or phone calls, but basically similar to what we're doing now, except for a way for them to record everything on the record. So that's about it. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions, commissioners or staff?
No, sir, I have none for our county attorney at this point in time.
All right, John, thank you for the update. I'm sure we're going to be visiting with you on our reopening plans, so thank you. Let's go to the natural resources. Mr. James Dietrich, are you on the line? For an update on natural resources?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. So I'd like to start off with, we've got a grant agreement with the state of Colorado. This is regarding the Colorado the Beautiful grant. And that's the grant was in the amount of $193,350. So anyway, I have got a copy of this agreement that's been forwarded to Shaq. There it is right there. I believe John's had a chance to review it also. Does seem like a standard state kind of grant language, although I'll let John comment on that.
Any comment, John?
No, I don't have any comments. Sorry, I had to take you off mute.
No problem, John. Sorry to put you on the spot. So my request is just to get a signature from the Board of County Commissioners to move forward with this grant agreement.
James, this is Commissioner Tell. What is this grant for? I see there's a match, an $83,000 match for this grant. What is this grant for? Is this for the Pass de Mesa Verde or what?
That's correct, Keenan. Yes, this is the Pass de Mesa Verde over on the Mancos side.
And we've got that recorded. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I think I probably did the same. We will be wanting to send Mancos, a bill for half of that matching amount too. Want to make a point of that.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you, James.
Certainly.
And what was the total, James? I don't.
The total budget is $193,350.
That's what the grant is actually for right now.
That's correct. Yes, that's the total project budget.
Okay. So,
Ready to favor a motion?
yes, sir. I would move that we sign the state of Colorado grant agreement in the amount of $193,350 for the Pass de Mesa Verde.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve a grant from Colorado the Beautiful, state of Colorado, for $193,350 to move forward with the Path to Mesa Verde project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. What do you have? What else do you have, James?
Also wanted to let the commissioners know that we were awarded the National Scenic Byways Foundation Private-Public Partnership Award for the McElmo Flume project. So anyway, apparently we've got kind of a national award, and of course, really had to do with the way Linda Toll kind of went around and really hustled the money out of so many different groups. Pretty impressive. So anyway, wanted to let you all know that.
Is there some sort of James, is there some sort of a certificate that says that, or?
I don't know if they've got a certificate. It should be out in the paper. I'll ask them, though, if they've got something that says that.
That would be nice to put somewhere in the boardroom.
Yeah, it would be. So, yeah, I'll take a look into that.
Okay, thank you.
We need a nice picture of the flume down in the boardroom, too. So
yes, we do.
I'll try to accomplish that as well. Also, so we got a notice about the BLM mitigation project over in La Plata County. This looks like pretty much a standard fuels mitigation project. It's within the WUI. I mean, they're really kind of focusing really just on re-entry to area that they've primarily treated before. I don't know why we got the notice on this. It was kind of a surprise. Something we don't normally comment on. There is a portion of that project that butts up against East Canyon, so right up against the county line. It probably does hold benefit for us to some extent. Other than that, I think, it's up to the commissioners. I'd certainly be happy to write a letter of support for this type of project if the commissioners feel like we'd like to weigh in.
Thoughts, commissioners?
I apologize for my email reply then, James. It's in La Plata County. I I didn't know if we really wanted to reply to anything crossing our jurisdictional boundaries, but if it's in support of something for them and it's better that way, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, I can certainly craft a letter then. You know, I think we keep it general. We just keep it in support of these type of fuel mitigation projects within the WUI, and that should be really sufficient. You know, when we start getting projects over on our side of the boundary, you know, probably having some letters of support from them wouldn't hurt either. So, kind of a gesture of goodwill, I guess.
Yeah, fire knows no boundaries.
That's right. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I think that's about all I've got for the day.
Any questions, commissioners, for James?
No, thank you, James.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, have a good day, James. Thank you. County Administrator, Mr. Shaq Powers.
Good morning.
You have a report.
Forgot to unmute myself.
It was kind of nice.
I know, wasn't that nice having me quiet for just a second? Let me move this.
I prefer to see you muzzled myself.
I look pretty muzzled right now, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
The government told me to wear a mask, so now I wear a mask. Which I hate to proselytize on YouTube, but I just wanted to ask if you gentlemen have accepted the government into your heart.
Into my heart.
Yes.
What are you talking about, into my heart? What are you talking
I'm
about?
proselytizing. You need to accept the government into your heart, and then I'll give you a government Bible.
Well,
Okay.
I think we'll talk about
You just need to get on with your report.
So the first thing I have for you in yesterday's meeting, Dr. Aiken had asked us to put pressure onto the company that the hospital ordered the BD Max analyzer for. They ordered it 3 weeks ago. We've already cut our portion of the check for that, and so the first thing that I would ask is I'm presenting a letter to James Thomas of the Becton Dixon and Company that is selling this MB Max analyzer, get the thing shipped and get it here.
Go ahead. Sorry, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Commissioner, go ahead.
Well, I was wondering if we could CC our congressman, so that maybe if there was a congressman CC'd on that as well, that it might help us get that sooner than later. I don't know if that would help or not, but any ideas that we can get it here faster would be great.
I will absolutely carbon Scott Tipton on this, and I will, the gentleman from the Northeast, his name is slipping my mind right now, but from
Mr. Bennett?
Not Bennett, the one from you. Gardner. But I'll copy Bennett and Gardner and Tipton.
That'd be great.
I have one other thing I'd like to request of you, Shaq. If you could get a telephone number of this Becton, Dickinson and Company, I would like to use a telephone barrage on them as well. I think letters are great, but they often go into file 13 from some secretary's desk when they get them. I'd like to see if you could locate a phone number and let some phone action be part of this as well.
So why don't I do this? I'm going to look up that contact information right now, and I will share that with everybody out in YouTube land as well, if you give me just a second.
I think that's a great idea, and don't hesitate to call them and say Montezuma County has the money, and we have the need, and we have been on your list for over 3 weeks, and we'd like to get one of your units.
Good idea, Commissioner Tell.
We might be able to get that phone number from Dr. Aiken also, Shaq. We might have that ready and available.
Give me just 1 second here.
Well, let's go ahead and go ahead.
Okay, so let me just move this over there. Whoops. Minimize you back down. There's your phone number for anybody that wants to call them. Area code 201-847-6800.
Thank you, Shaq.
You're welcome.
They will be hearing from me.
Okay, so how does I guess the commissioners will just go in and sign this document at Kim's desk, and as soon as that's been signed, we'll get it off an email to Mr. James Thomas.
Shaq, do you have rubber stamps of our signatures?
I do.
I'd like to make a motion here, and I think we could expedite this a little bit quicker if we vote on sending this letter and then just let you rubber stamp our signatures. I think that could be a much more rapid way to get this letter on the way. How about you other commissioners?
In agreement.
I'm okay with it also.
Yeah. I would like to move then, I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter requesting the expediting the BD Max analyzer for Montezuma County to Becton, Dickinson and Company.
Second.
Motion and a second to send a letter to expedite the purchase of the BD Max COVID-19 tester for the Southwest Memorial Hospital. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
And I would also then request our administrator to rubber stamp those signatures and get that in the mail today if he can.
Will do. So the next thing I was going to go through with my report is that we are planning, as you know, to reopen county offices on Monday morning. And so I just wanted to give you an idea of what that's going to look like. The Department of Social Services, the Child Protection side is mostly still working. For their staff on the eligibility side, maintenance has already installed extra hand sanitizer stations around the door and the place where they conduct business at the window. The social services staff is in the process this week of marking off 6-foot places so that people don't crowd beyond the distancing recommendations, and the lobby will also be marking those outside. They're in doing that this week, so that we'll be good to go Monday. The Extension Office, CSU, has ordered their employees to be at home until the middle of May. However, the ones that we're funding will be coming back in and just alternating their schedules beginning Monday. The fairgrounds will reopen the arena. We're looking for some guidance on how to move forward with events, but the arena will open Monday, and they are working on extra sanitizing protocols, and they will be enforcing distancing. GIS, planning, and natural resources all have plans for extra sanitization of their workstations. They are asking that people just go ahead and call ahead, and they're taking steps, especially in the GIS office, where when people are in person and the 6-foot distancing isn't as possible, that we will be providing masks for their customers, and they have masks that they can be wearing as well. And again, the website is up to start the application processes for any planning needs. Most of that can be done virtually now, and we're just asking if people do need to come in that they call in advance to set that up so that we don't exceed any limits of people coming in. Veteran Services they have plans in place for extra sanitizing and wiping down of keyboards and distancing of 6 foot or more and wearing masks as appropriate. So as soon as the governor order loosens on Monday, they will be open for their clients as well. Senior Services is a little more tricky from their funding, and they're not going to be doing congregate meals just yet. The Treasurer's Office, Mike Chenard is installing plexiglass across their counter. and they are providing with extra sanitizing stations and wipes for keeping everything sanitized, and they will be sanitizing in between cash exchanges, check exchanges, everything like that. Pretty much the same thing for the clerk's department, except for the clerk's on, so I'll just let Kim go ahead and say what she's got planned over there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Kim.
Basically, we're going to be doing the same thing as the treasurer's office. We are going to limit the number of customers that we have, so we do not go over the 10-person threshold. We are going to limit 5 customers in the office at a time, and then we're going to keep the 6-foot distancing in the hallway. And we are going to do the sanitization between each customer. The maintenance department is putting up plexiglass in our stations. They did 2 of them during this meeting, so it's been a little interesting to try and hear what you guys are saying. But that's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to continue with what we're doing, and then we're going to, I'm going to bring hopefully bring everybody back to the office starting Monday for just our regular 8:30 to 4:30 hours. And we're going to continue to use the Dropbox. That has been very beneficial for all departments in this building. So we are going to continue using that year round for all of the departments to use. And we are going to continue with the email and the fax and the mail and online services. So whatever we can do, we're going to try and do it.
Good. Thank you, Kim.
Any questions?
No, thank you, Kim.
Okay, thank you.
And the assessor's office is following suit with the rest of that building. They're discussing what plexiglass may look. They may or may not go with that. And then the entire building, they're taping off the 6-foot measurements in the hall to keep people spaced as necessary. And they're putting up the rope stations in between to keep people traveling in different directions and keep them separated. So the clerk, treasurer, assessor's office will be open Monday. Social services will be fully opened Monday. The extension people will have at least the ones working for us back in the office. And so the county plans to be open Monday, but taking the precautions that we need to protect our citizens and our employees.
Shaq, can I ask you a couple of questions before you
Yes.
go on to the next item? Where do we stand for applications for the fairground manager, and when would we have interviews? Number one. Number two is, and how are we for the bid for the bathrooms and the kitchens to move forward for the remodel?
I believe that we're still a week and a half out on the deadline to receive the bid proposals. And then we do have a few applications for the fairground manager position. We are still advertising for that on the website. And anytime next week, whenever you guys decide that you want to start doing in-person interviews, we can move forward with that.
How many applications do you have?
I want to
Do you know?
say at least 2 and possibly 3.
Oh, wow. Would have thought we would have had more than that.
Well,
Commissioners, what is your opinion?
I'm not certain if this stay-at-home COVID situation has caused that number to be so small. I'm a little bit surprised at that few applications for that job. I guess we take a look at the 2 or 3 that we've got. If we don't care for what we see there, then we let that run a bit longer, and maybe as we run out of this COVID-19 business, maybe we'll see some more applications come in. But
I can.
That's kind of.
For the next week or so, I can spend a week kind of pushing that job request out on Facebook and social media and try and get it some more attention.
Yeah,
Good idea. That would be a good idea, Shaq. Also with the journal going to only 1 day a week now on Wednesdays, it's making things as far as published form less frequent, which people are even seeing it in that means of media less. So I agree with Commissioner Quell. We can look at them. If it, we need to extend it, we can extend it. But this does probably have a lot of people that are not really reviewing those types of jobs because they know that they're going to have an interview, and so we can extend it if we have.
Yeah, let's have Vicki push it out there, our PIO as well.
Will do. And that concludes my reports unless you have any more questions for me.
Any questions, commissioners?
I do not have any at this time.
All right, then. Sorry, Commissioner Ortell.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the county commissioners' reports. Who would like to start?
I can start. Mine's very brief. I have not attended a meeting. I've been online with some different things and on some of the COVID reports from Karen Dixon, but really I have nothing to report outside of what we've been getting information on this COVID and our healthcare of the county and our emergency managers report. So I have nothing new to report.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortell. Commissioner Candelaria?
I have a couple of things. Obviously, as Commissioner Ortell stated, we are attending a lot of these meetings with the public health. Wednesday, the open discussion with public health of finding ways to move forward. Friday with public health, the local updates. As far as thinking outside of the box and how things are ramping up and how we're dealing with the contact tracing. On Thursday, we had the MBT meeting, the Montezuma Business Task Force. Colton Black from the Dolores State Bank stated that they had processed over 80 applications and a little over $5 million of funds that they had distributed. And that's just from one of our local banks. That was just the Dolores State Bank. No other bank was at that meeting to report out. Nikki Crowley from the Onward Foundation also reported that they had distributed a little over 16,000 to nonprofits in Montezuma County. So there are people taking advantages of some of these funding sources and are starting to receive some of the money. Colton Black also stated that as of that day they were out of money, that now has run dry. Was able to attend the Ute Mountain Ute Tribes briefing yesterday. They are still in basically the same mode that they have been. And I'm not sure that they're going to do anything to release anything anytime soon, but they're again our sovereign nation and they're in our county, but just trying to stay up to date with them. And then lastly, I have a response I'd like to read. And I just want, please note that this is my personal response and the other commissioners may or may not share the same thoughts. We're all facing challenging times and we are in uncharted waters. We are also now facing two very different crises, not only public health, but also economical. I feel that we have excellent guidance on additional hygiene and it will become the new normal. I believe now more than ever, if people are feeling ill or are compromised health, they will remove themselves from the public. As we near the April 26th date that was previously set by the governor to dismiss the stay-at-home order, we have to start planning new strategies. Social distancing may become a new norm. However, we cannot live in fear. COVID-19 is real, and we understand this. We are actively meeting daily by virtual meetings with other leaders at our community, state, and national levels. We are discussing needs and analyzing assessments of the current situation. For example, we as the commissioners have approved funding to assist Southwest Health Systems to purchase a rapid testing machine, which will be helpful for all medical professionals on the front line. This will help them tremendously, and the benefits will be passed on to the community. I would encourage you all to join and stay informed. We are very fortunate to live in a sparsely populated area and to have wide open spaces. Most events and large gatherings have been postponed until later in the year. These postponements are a great step in reducing the spread of the virus. Social distancing is working to flatten the curve, and we are seeing that everything is trending in the right direction. As you are more than aware, it will take several months for any kind of return to true normalcy. However, we have to start somewhere. We have seen that many of our fellow Americans have had their livelihoods stripped due to executive orders from the governor. And the fact that the WWE had been deemed essential services in Florida raises questions for all of us. I will say that our community members are hurting, especially those that have been considered non-essential. I can assure you that although the state government considers them non-essential, those individuals could argue that their means of putting food on their table is most certainly essential. For many in our community, the economic ruin left in the wake of COVID-19 may leave them with nothing. And at what point is total economic ruin the better option as opposed to moving forward? We have additional 60 beds here at Southwest Memorial Hospital and several Tier 3 and 4 structures in our community if needed. Fort Lewis College in Durango has an additional 160 beds if there's a spike in the southwestern region, but I pray that we never have to use these resources, but the southwest region is prepared for a large-scale outbreak. Although our people need to go back to work and we need to move forward, and we will get through this together. And that's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Candelaria. Appreciate that. Well, I guess my report would be, I would ask that we could have a discussion tomorrow that we could do two things to move our community forward. One would be that we put our plan out there in its draft form. It's a working document. We have our IPO do that right, or our PIO do that right away. We have a special meeting tomorrow, meeting the 24-hour requirements, and that we have John, he's working on a letter for exemption from the governor, as well, one like Eagle County did, and Mesa County and several other counties are doing. If we could have a special meeting tomorrow to address those two things, but the request would be that if the commissioners would be in agreement to allow the plan out for comment.
Yes, Commissioner Sukla, I think that's only wise and prudent to do that. I also think that when we're talking about a plan to move forward economically, Montezuma County that is, I think we need to make sure the city has got to be on board with whatever we're doing here and what we're planning for the county. I think the city, their administrator, I know they're coming in with a new group of council people, but I think definitely the administrator there at the city, they have the bulk of the business within their city limits, and I think we're going to need to have them in concert with us on anything we move forward in trying to reopen the businesses and the economic vitality of our community and our county.
All right. And I'm also okay, Commissioner Sukla, to push that out. It can be viewed, but I would agree with Commissioner Tell that we all have to be on the same page as far as Dolores, Mancos, Cortez, and the county. This has to definitely be a united way of opening and moving this county forward.
All right. So are we in agreement about putting the draft reopening plan out for public comment?
Yes, I am.
Commissioner Candelaria?
Yeah, I'm trying here. Bear with me. Yes, I'm okay to do that. And then we can meet. Are you saying tomorrow, like say 1300? That gives us our 24 hours.
Whatever works for the commissioners. If you think that the 24-hour period is enough time.
Well, I don't know if we'll have everything back from the other municipalities. I guess if Ken Charles or Heather Alvarez are listening, I know that Mancos has a meeting, I believe, on Wednesday. They probably wouldn't be able to get a response back to us until Thursday. And I haven't checked for Dolores, but I think they're on Mondays. So I'm sure they would be able to get back to us. So.
Well, why don't we delay it one more day then and do it on Thursday? Would that be okay?
I think
it's just a preliminary plan that I don't know if there would be, Thursday would probably not be the decision to approve the plan or not, but it would give us where we could discuss comments from all of the municipalities as well as the constituents. What do you think?
I think Thursday might be better, Commissioner Sukla. That would give them a little bit more time to respond to the draft, and then we could meet Thursday to review it.
Are you okay with that, Commissioner Tell?
I certainly am.
All right, Shaq, can you make that so?
Yes, what time Thursday?
Anytime works for me.
Me too. Anytime.
Let's do 1300 hours.
That would be great. I have a Region 9 board meeting that starts at 9 o'clock on Thursday, so I should be done by 1.
All right. Okay,
before you move ahead, Commissioner, are we going to meet in person or are we going to do this by Zoom and virtually?
I would think that we need to meet in person with the proper 6-foot spacing.
I would like to meet in person. We can keep our distance. Our boardroom is big enough that we can space everybody out and still maintain all of the requirements.
All right, then let's meet in person, and then we can put it on. We can use our video system for the discussion.
Exactly.
Okay. Thursday.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment is kind of hard to do, and it also takes a long time for Shaq to read the comments. I'm not for sure we can read those as well.
So the only comment that I've responded to most of them already. They were technical. MB wants to know if you'll have public comment during the meeting Thursday, and I think that's actually the whole point of the meeting Thursday. And then Susan Lysak says, Shaq, can you mention that there is a public survey out from the Tri-Chambers of Commerce for the public and for business regarding reopening? And yes, Susan, I mentioned that, and we'll throw the survey up on our website as well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I have nothing at this time, sir.
Nope, I'm good and look forward to meeting with you on Thursday.
All right. Is there a motion?
I move to
adjourn.
Second.
I think Jim was quicker on the draw on that one, Commissioner Tell. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Not sure working there. Well, you beat him to the second or to the aye. So, thank you, Commissioner Shaq, community out there. Stay safe, and hopefully we can get our economy back to moving again.
Hopefully it'll keep raining today. Got us hard on it. Maybe keep raining. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Take care, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.